Hello, everyone, and welcome. For Chapter 4 in this exercise, we're going to review Exercise 4A in this video. You're going to be starting to work very specifically with spatial data, and you're going to be taking that next step where you're going to start to make your own shape files and your own geodatabases and really gaining more control of your GIS system. And what's really nice about this activity is we have a scenario. As I said, I really like that. And you're going to be converting the shape files and the data basically that the this scenario GIS department has. And as you do this, you're going to learn some very important skills for future homeworks and projects, and even your midterm project and your final project. You're going to need to be able to either create your own spatial data sets or convert. And so this is a very useful task. Now, at the beginning, there's a lot of information about geodatabases, shape files, and some very important terminology. Make sure to read this over, go through it, and become comfortable with these terms because they'll be used again and again and again. All right, so for this set of activities, we're going to be using from our GTKA Pro folder, we're going to be looking in the city maintain. And you'll see there are some shape files, and a CSV file is like a spreadsheet, um, which contains all of the latitudes and longitude points. All right, so for our exercise 4A, we're going to build our geodatabase, and we're going to do this at first by converting some shape files that are already out there, and we're going to be putting them into our geodatabase. So the first thing you want to do is open up ArcGIS and open up that city maintain project. And again, that should be in your folder. Okay, so I have it open. And again, if I expand my folders, you'll see here's the city maintain and our data, some of the information that we have. And you'll see right now there's one layer, streets. So our first step is to use the geoprocessing pane, which again is in the analysis tab if you don't already have it open. And we're going to look for the tool called feature class to feature class. And once we open that up, we're going to use that to help us add the fire hydrant shape file to our geodatabase. So real quick, if we come here, if you don't already have the geoprocessing open, you can go to analysis and click on tools. You can, it helps if you spell. Okay, there we go, feature class to feature class. And now we have our geoprocessing pane open. And you're going to notice here we're going to have our input from the shape file that's called fire hydrant SHP. We were going to have the output going to our city maintain database. And then we're going to name this fire hydrants. Again, be very careful with the naming. Watch capitalization and everything, because if you don't, then you're going to have issues. Now, the book talks about a couple of ways to find. You can drag this over. You can click on the little folder and find it this way. Again, the output location, and then you're going to type in. And then I always like to double check just to make sure I have it spelled the way. All right. Okay, and here we have it here. If you find you do this and it comes up and says something like parameters missing or something's not working, try closing everything. Don't save. Reopen up the project and go through again and make sure to carefully select everything. All right. I'm getting a little marker here because I've done this before, so it's telling me I already have something here. But the end right here, you should see fire hydrants, and you should see them here in the back. Okay. So again, you can see that feature. Here's what it looks like. Remember, the colors are assigned randomly. So we need to convert 3 more shape files, and they're going to have you do a script that will convert multiple files at once. So anytime you do something again and again, rather than doing it, you can use scripts, which will automate it a little bit more. Okay. So now in the geoprocessing pane, click the back arrow to return to the search tool, search for the feature class to geodatabase script tool, and point to it to see the tooltip. So it allows you to convert several data sets at once. Okay. So click on this little back. And again, we want the feature class, the geobase. Now, you may notice that it looks a little bit different. You'll notice it says click to open for input features, add the water lines. Then in the next input box, it appears, add the water pressure and then the wells. So I've got this. It didn't add them over here, but it says that everything looked well. And you can look at the catalog pane to see the new features. Now it's going to ask you to drag the new geodatabase features, those 3 you just added, to the map, and you can use the shift or control to select them all at once. Now you're going to change the water lines color by right-clicking the symbol in the contents pane and choose dark blue. And then we're going to change the symbology for the other layers as indicated. We're going to click the symbol under the layers and open the symbology pane. And then you're going to change them to these 3 things. So here I've done the wells. I've just double clicked on the fire hydrants, and they want to be a diamond. I think it was diamond 1 or diamond 3. Diamond 3, and then I'll double click on, let me see. And it wants the water pressure zones to be a black outline. So I double click on it. Let me see. And then we can zoom to the wells layer. Move this out of the way for now. And save the project. I'm just going to do a save as. So I have my exercise for A. Okay, now we're going to take a look at that CSV file. So we're going to drag that over as well. Okay, and then I want to take a look at it. So I right click and I open. And now you can see the different values. It doesn't have a good geometry feature. There's no shape field. So you can't really display this on the map, but we can turn it into mappable data because it has coordinates. So we're going to scroll all the way to the right side where you see the point X and point Y, just so you can kind of look at them. And then we're going to, in the geoprocessing pane, search for the XY table to point tool. Make sure to take a look at the tooltip anytime they give you information. That really helps you do this. Also, make sure if you're not familiar with latitude and longitude, now is a good time to become really familiar. And while we call it point X and point X is like along the X axis. So this right here and point Y. Okay. And you want to make sure to always check those conventions if you're taking data from someone else, just to make sure they should use the same conventions as latitude and longitude. But again, you just want to double check that. All right, so let's go ahead and open that up and get that going. Okay, so we've got the XY coordinate, and then you want to set it up with all of these particular values. So I've got my geoprocessing. Again, you can search for XY, table to point, and now we'll just put these in. Okay, so we've got it in. We change the coordinate system. We run. You're going to get some potential errors. Again, don't worry about that because, as mentioned, there's no Z field here. So now we have our vowels XY table to point. So we can remove and change the new layer name to vowels, and then change the vowel symbols to circle 4. Okay, once you've got that all set, then we're going to learn about a concept called metadata. Metadata is so important in GIS. It's like the credits kind of at the end of a movie, only much more important. It's where you can put in who created the map. It's also where you put in things like what map projection you used, when was the data collected, and all sorts of other information as well. Metadata, again, is very, very important. Um, Especially if you're going to be sharing this with different people. And you can right click the data set in a catalog pane and click metadata, and it can show you some different things. So we're going to kind of set this up. And it's something you want to look at and always be very mindful and aware. So again, you can come over here. You could right click, for instance, on fire hydrants, view the metadata. You notice it snaps over here to the catalog, and you've got some great information here. Okay. Now I'll just click on back to the map. So now we're going to establish an attribute domain, which kind of helps to validate. It's like an extra checker to make sure you don't have something wrong with your data, which is, of course, very, very, very important because any wrong point can have cascading effects. So here we're going to create a coded value domain for the pipe diameter field of the water lines feature class. And what this means is pipe diameters must be 4, 6, 8, or 12. And so essentially this attribute domain is going to say if the number is not a 4, 6, 8, or 12, then there's an issue. So again, it's a way to set up those checks and balances. All right, so we're going to open up the water lines attribute table, click the little options hamburger button, and then click on view fields. So right click attribute table and fields view. Now at the bottom of the table, you're going to find the P diameter field, and you're going to select the cell in the domain column. You're going to click the cell again, and from the options select add a new coded value domain. And then you're going to get this little domains table. The domain tab will also appear in the main ribbon. You may notice a measurement types domain created by default. All right, so under the domain name, you're going to type pipe diameter. Again, be very careful with the wording. For description, type pipe diameter in inches. And essentially, you're going to fill everything out here. I did want to show you one thing. If you go back and you're not seeing the domain pop up, you may want to go back in and double check that you have everything set. Okay, and if we just go back here into the add new domain, and if you take a look again here, mine wasn't showing up because you notice I accidentally put the field type as text. And so, of course, that wasn't going to work at all. So you would want to just make sure that you have everything set here, or else you're going to have issues. So again, if something's not working, it's probably something that wasn't typed quite right. Anyway, I just wanted to give you that example. Okay. So now we've got that set, and you can go ahead and save this project, again, if you've been saving them in the past, and upload it as 4A. Take care.